Hello everyone, so in this video, we will be starting a series on making different APIs and different web applications. We have seen that there are different type of LLD rounds in which you will ask to make different classes and the APIs and projects, all of those stuff. So also in a lot of companies, there are also a very beginning round in which we have to make APIs on different type of use cases. So why not start a complete playlist in which we'll go about making our very own APIs from the very scratch. Also make different projects, how you will decide how you can make a project. Also on top of APIs, how you can write good code, how you can write and structure your code as we go along and all of those stuff. So I will make a complete dedicated playlist out of all those videos I'm making. Stay tuned on this series. And in this video, we will be writing our very first own get API. There are different methods: get, put, post, delete, and so on. Don't worry, I'll try to cover all of them. And in this video, we'll start with the very first and very simple get API. And this is the code part. Don't worry, I'll try to explain you every piece of code, what is every code means. This is all in Golang. And I have a complete series on Golang as well if you want to get to the very basics. This is little bit advanced, not much, but still I will help you to understand what each word and each thing means. Okay, so let's start. So what we have done is that I have initialized a very empty, you can say Go project. I have nothing inside here. This is just nothing. I have just two files, main and go.mod. Go.mod is just to store what all dependencies we have in the import form. You can initialize this, and then we have to I have just only one file, that is main.go, nothing much. Now, what is in that main.go? We have to write down our endpoints, these API endpoints. Now, for that endpoints, we have to somehow start a server. A server expose these endpoints. Now, a server will be having some port and some URL. The server is generally on localhost. The port is this 8080. So this is where the server is listening to. All of this functionality is provided by this HTTP package. So we have to import that net/HTTP. This is the package in Golang that is used to open these servers and expose the endpoints. So what we have done is that we have this is log.fiddle. Why I have put this whole thing in log.fiddle? Because if something happens, the server doesn't start, then whatever is the output, whatever is the error which is thrown by this should be logged on the screen. So it will be logged on a terminal so that you can understand that what is the actual error. So what we have done here is that we have started a listening and we want to serve on the port 8080, and this is the package that is used to do that. Now what you have to do is that this is now listening on it. So this is fmt.println. This is just printing that okay, the port is now starting on 8080. This is starting the port. Now when you have started the port, you have to initialize some endpoints on which you are actually listening and doing some interaction. So you have to also register those endpoints. So what I'm doing is the same package, and we have register a endpoint that is called ping. So /ping. So our total complete endpoint will be localhost. So http colon / localhost, then 8080, and then slash, and then ping. Don't worry, I will also show you. But this is how the endpoint will look like. So this is the URL, the port, and after this port, you have to do a slash and ping. This is the actual endpoint that you're going to hit. Now this is the ping endpoint. Now this ping endpoint, whenever is hit, it will initialize or it will go through a function. This is everything is just a function call. Okay, so we will initialize and go through a function call. Now what is the function? You have to provide that function here. That is this function, that is greeting function. So this will handle a function at this particular endpoint, and what function will be invoked? This greeting function. This greeting function is written here. So every function that has to be passed here has to have two things inside there. You can say function call will have two parameters, this response writer and the request. You have to just learn this thing. This initial part you have to just learn that whenever you write down a handle func, you have to handle a function on this particular route that is calling this, invoking this function, because this is a handle function. So you have to write down the function. This function is here, and this function always take two parameters, the response writer and the request. You have to always write down in this format. Now, what are these two things? See, whenever our endpoint is hit, it can take, like, depending upon the method, it can have some request. So you have to have some request. So that is this request. And it has to now throw a response back. This API has to throw a response back. So the response writer is this. So request and response has to be there in an endpoint. So these are the two things that we have to put as a parameter, that this is passing, this we will get as an input, and we have to output in this response writer, output from this particular endpoint. That is the complete thing. Now what we are trying to do here is that whenever this endpoint is called, now we have to add some headers in the response writer. This response writer header is telling that I will be outputting, the output format will be in JSON. This is some standard things. You can also learn them. You can also put it there. This is just that to tell the response from this endpoint that whatever I'm outputting is in the JSON format. Also, I'm returning the header that this response is okay, that this is a 200 status response. And then what I have to print in the output, I have to write. So as all you can see is that I am doing everything on the W dot header, W dot write header, W dot write, because I have to put all of this in the response. I have nothing to be taken as input in this particular function. This function is just printing hello to the Golang world. Okay, so this is the actual thing. Now I have to write down this W dot write actually like outputs in the byte format. So you have to convert this in the byte format. You can also use Marshall. We will go through in Marshall as well in the next video. But what I've done is that I've typecasted this message in the byte, then store that whole thing inside w.write, because now w.write means that this is the complete object that will be thrown to the response. So we have to put everything in w. So w.write means that I am writing to the response writer this message. And if something happens while writing, I will return error. If nothing happens is a write, I have written this message in the response and I will just return that this is completely done. These are some of the few things. I hope it might be sound a little bit confusing at the very beginning, but as you write on more code along with me, it will become very easy. Let's now run this endpoint and see what's the actual output. So we'll just start this. We'll start it. And now what we'll do is that we will go to Postman. And we have this ping, as you can see, http :/localhost dot colon 8080 / ping. That is our endpoint that we have to call. And this is a get endpoint. So as you can see here, if I hit it, as you can see, I will get in the output, welcome to Golang world. If I use some other endpoint, let's say pings. So it is 404 page not found, because that page doesn't found. I have only written a route for ping. If I just again write down ping and send, this endpoint is returning welcome to Golang world. So hooray, you have write down your very first API endpoint in Golang, that is a get endpoint, and you have throwing some request. So this is an endpoint, we are throwing no request. So I have no request and I'm throwing a response, that is message, that is this. Okay, so now you have gone through the very first endpoint. You can re-watch this video again 1 or 2 times so that you understand what is the output, how we have thrown this output, and what is the actual thing that we have passed, and how this all process. Don't worry, we'll go through a lot of different videos and we'll go through a lot of different type of methods as well. So thank you for watching this video till the end. I will see you in the next one. Till keep coding and bye.